There comes a point in every person's life when the weight they carry is not because of enemies, but because of the people they are trying to please. We live in a world that teaches us to smile even when we are breaking, to give even when we are empty, to say yes, even when our spirit is saying no. But there is a moment when God begins to open your eyes and show you that not every act of kindness is holy, not every sacrifice is righteous, and not every person deserves the access you keep giving them. Some people are not in your life to grow you, they are there to drain you. Some conversations are not healing you, they are weakening you. Some relationships are not shaping your destiny, they are suffocating it. God never asked you to carry every burden, heal every heart, or rescue every soul you meet. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is set boundaries. Sometimes the holiest word you can speak is no. Because when kindness becomes a way of losing yourself, when compassion turns into self-destruction, God steps in and reminds you that you are not called to be everyone's solution. You are called to be faithful to the purpose He placed inside you. There are people who will take your kindness and feed on it. People who will drain your energy and call it loyalty. People who will use your heart and call it love. And the longer you pour into the wrong people, the further you drift from the assignment God gave you. You were not created to be a vessel that everyone empties. You were created to be a vessel that God fills, strengthens, and uses according to His will. This is the moment when God whispers, "Stop being kind to everyone." Not because kindness is wrong, but because your kindness must be guided by wisdom. You must learn who deserves your time, who earns your trust, and who is allowed to walk beside you. And when you begin to choose wisely, your spirit rises, your peace grows, and your life aligns with the places God has been trying to take you all along. Kindness is a beautiful gift, but when it is given without boundaries, it slowly becomes a doorway for exhaustion, confusion, and emotional harm. Many people believe that being kind means saying yes to everyone, helping every request, and carrying every burden placed in front of them. They think that refusing someone is unloving, that drawing a line is selfish, that protecting their peace is wrong. But there comes a moment when God begins to open your eyes and show you that kindness without wisdom is not kindness at all. It is self-destruction. You were not created to be a container that everyone drains, nor a bridge that everyone walks over. God designed you with purpose, identity, and dignity. And the more you allow yourself to be stretched beyond your capacity, the more you lose the strength needed for your true calling. There are people who will take your kindness and stretch it until it breaks. They will see your giving heart and assume it is their entitlement. They will see your compassion and assume it is their privilege. The more you give, the more they take, not because they value you, but because your kindness makes it convenient for them to place their responsibilities on your shoulders. But God did not assign you to fix every problem or heal every person. He did not call you to be a rescuer for those who refuse to rescue themselves. When you start carrying the weight of others without prayer, without discernment, and without balance, you slowly drown in obligations that were never meant for you. And while you are drowning, some of the very people you helped will stand on the shore and watch, because their interest was never your well-being. Only their benefit. God begins to teach you that every act of kindness must be rooted in wisdom. Wisdom tells you who to help, when to help, and how much of yourself you can give. Wisdom reminds you that not every battle is your battle, not every story is your responsibility, and not every person deserves the same access to your heart. There are individuals whose presence in your life brings peace and growth, and there are individuals whose presence slowly drains the light within you. Without boundaries, you cannot see the difference. You become exhausted from giving, overwhelmed from pleasing, and empty from caring about people who do not care about you in return. God did not call you to that kind of burden. He called you to be a light, not a sacrifice on the altar of someone else's irresponsibility. Kindness is powerful when guided by purpose. It heals, it uplifts, it strengthens, but when kindness flows without limit, it leaves you weak and depleted. You cannot pour into people when you have nothing left inside. You cannot be available for God's purpose when everyone else has consumed your energy. You cannot run your race when you are dragging the weight of people who refuse to walk on their own. The enemy often uses exhaustion to distract believers from destiny, and many times that exhaustion comes disguised as kindness. You think you are doing something good, but slowly you lose the passion, clarity, and strength God gave you. You begin to live in survival mode, mentally tired, emotionally drained, spiritually weakened. Because you gave too much to the wrong people, there is a sacred kind of strength in learning to say no. It is not cruelty. It is not selfishness. It is spiritual maturity. When you say no to others, sometimes you are actually saying yes to God, yes to your peace, yes to your calling, yes to your health, yes to your alignment. God wants His children to walk in wisdom, not burnout. He wants you to love but not lose yourself. He wants you to give but not be consumed. He wants you to care but not collapse under the weight of other people's expectations. And once you understand this, your kindness becomes stronger, purer, healthier, because it flows from a place of strength rather than exhaustion. Not everyone deserves access to your heart, your time, or your energy. And the moment you understand this truth is the moment your life begins to shift. Many people live drained, overwhelmed, and confused, not because God placed too much on them, but because they opened the door too widely to people who were never meant to walk that deeply into their lives. Your heart is sacred, your peace is sacred, your purpose is sacred, but when you allow the wrong people to sit too close, they start influencing your emotions, shaping your decisions, and interrupting the flow of God's presence within you. Not everyone you meet is meant to stay. Not everyone who smiles is a friend. Not everyone who asks deserves access. And the more you mature spiritually, the more you begin to understand that access is not given freely. It is earned. There are people who come into your life with sincerity, loyalty, and genuine respect. They uplift you, sharpen you, challenge you to grow, and celebrate your progress without jealousy. These are the people who deserve your kindness, your time, and your effort. But there are others who enter your life with hidden intentions. They want what you can give, not who you are. They want the benefits of your presence without respecting the responsibility of relationship. They take your kindness as weakness, your silence as permission, and your availability as an open invitation to drain you. The more access you give them, the more they consume, and the further you drift from the emotional and spiritual balance God intends for you. Access determines influence. When the wrong people have access to you, they can influence your mood, your choices, your peace, and even your spiritual direction. Some people speak negativity into your dreams. Some make you doubt yourself. Some weaken your confidence. Some interrupt your time with God. And because you allowed them too close, their words echo inside your heart longer than they should. Their actions take up mental space that should belong to your growth. Their presence occupies emotional territory meant for clarity and peace. The enemy knows that he cannot always destroy you externally, so he sends people who quietly weaken you internally by draining your attention, distracting your mind, and disrupting your spiritual progress. You must learn to guard your access, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. You do not have to explain yourself to everyone. You do not have to justify your boundaries. You do not have to feel guilty for protecting your heart. When God elevates you, when He begins to work deeply inside you, when He gives you insight, strength, and clarity, you must become extremely selective about who walks with you. Some people can handle your past, but cannot handle your future. Some people are comfortable with your struggles, but resent your success. Some people cheer for you publicly, but doubt you privately. Allowing these people too close becomes a trap that pulls your focus away from what God is trying to build within you. Your heart is not a public place. Your time is not an unlimited resource. Your energy is not a gift to be wasted. You must treat your inner life like holy ground, because that is exactly what it is. God speaks to you there. God strengthens you there. God shapes your purpose there. And when the wrong people enter that space, they interfere with the voice of God, cloud your spiritual clarity, and plant seeds of confusion, insecurity, and emotional exhaustion. If you want to grow, if you want to rise, if you want to fulfill your calling, you must guard your access with discernment and courage. There will be moments when letting go feels painful, but staying connected to the wrong people is far more damaging. Some people are not bad, but they are not aligned with your assignment. Some are not enemies, but they are not destined for your future. Some are not toxic, but they are draining your strength, your peace, and your purpose. Maturity is recognizing that access must be earned, boundaries must be protected, and your heart must be guarded, because not everyone deserves the privilege of walking closely with you in life. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that not everyone deserves the softness of your heart, because kindness without boundaries becomes a trap that drains your energy and weakens your spirit. You grow up believing that being kind to everyone will earn you love, acceptance, and protection. But reality teaches you something very different, something uncomfortable, something that forces you to rethink the way you give your time, your support, and your emotional strength. There are people who don't appreciate kindness. They consume it, they expect it, they demand it, they take advantage of it, and they do it because you've trained them to believe they can. Life becomes heavy when you carry people who refuse to take even one step on their own, and you don't realize how much they weigh until the day you finally put them down. You feel guilty for pulling back because you've spent years believing that good people never say no, but the truth is that wise people do. They do it to protect their peace, to guard their energy, and to preserve their purpose, because kindness without wisdom turns into self-destruction. It's not your job to fix everyone's chaos or heal everyone's wounds, especially when they refuse to heal themselves. Some people like the comfort of being rescued. Some like having access to your sympathy. Some enjoy the benefits of your generosity while giving nothing in return. You think you're helping, but what you're actually doing is enabling, feeding their dependence and draining your own strength. You start noticing that the more you give, the less they value it, and the more you sacrifice, the more they expect. Kindness becomes their entitlement, not your choice. And when you finally stop giving, they call you selfish, not because you are, but because your boundaries expose their dependence. It takes courage to step back. It takes strength to protect your heart from people who only show up when they need something. You must understand that your time, energy, peace, and compassion are not unlimited resources. They must be given with intention, not guilt. When you try to please everyone, you lose yourself in the process. And you wake up one day realizing that the person you kept putting last was the one who needed you the most. You, your dreams, your health, your mental clarity, your purpose. You cannot keep pouring into others while you are running empty inside. There's a point where being overly kind becomes a form of self-betrayal, because you are saying yes to everyone while saying no to yourself. You must learn the power of selective kindness, the strength of choosing where your heart goes, and the wisdom of giving only to those who honor what you offer. You owe it to yourself to protect your emotional capacity from people who misuse it, because every minute you spend trying to save someone who refuses to grow is a minute stolen from your destiny. You're not obligated to be kind to people who gossip about you, lie to you, manipulate you, disrespect you, ignore your needs, or drain your energy. Kindness is not submission. Kindness is not weakness. Kindness doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. True kindness is rooted in strength, not sacrifice. It means helping without harming yourself. It means caring without carrying everyone's burdens. It means loving without losing your identity. When you finally understand this, your life starts to shift. You begin to see who deserves access to your heart and who only wants to consume it. You begin to differentiate between those who value your presence and those who value your benefits. You begin to invest in people who uplift you, support you, encourage you, and match the energy you give. You become more aware of your emotional boundaries, and that awareness becomes your protection. When you stop being kind to everyone, not out of bitterness but out of self-respect, you finally reclaim your power, your peace, and your purpose. There comes a point in your life when you must recognize that being kind to everyone is not a sign of strength, but a sign of emotional exhaustion, disguised as generosity, because the desire to be liked, accepted, and appreciated pushes you into giving beyond what your heart can realistically sustain. You start offering pieces of yourself to people who have never given you anything but empty promises, shallow gratitude, or transactional affection, and you convince yourself that your kindness will eventually transform them, heal them, or inspire them. But instead of changing, they become more comfortable, more demanding, and more entitled. They begin to see your kindness not as a gift, but as their right, and your self-sacrifice becomes their expectation. You find yourself apologizing for things that were never your fault, fixing problems you didn't create, and carrying emotional loads that were never yours to carry. You become the person everyone runs to when they need help but forget when they are comfortable, and you start to notice that your heart is always full for others but empty for yourself. You spend years trying to maintain relationships that drain you because you're afraid of being seen as cold or selfish if you set boundaries. But the reality is that boundaries don't make you unkind. They make you wise. You must learn that kindness without limits is the reason many people walk over you, because you've taught them that your time isn't important, your energy isn't valuable, and your emotional well-being can be exchanged for their convenience. You smile even when you're tired, you say yes even when it breaks you, and you offer support even when no one is there to support you. And slowly, without noticing, you turn into someone who gives love freely but receives it rarely. That is when the truth becomes undeniable. Not everyone deserves the warmth of your heart, and not every situation requires your compassion. You must understand that your purpose in this life is not to be a savior for people who refuse to save themselves, because some individuals don't want transformation. They want comfort. They don't want guidance. They want dependency. They don't want help. They want someone to blame when their life doesn't change. If you keep giving to these people, they will keep taking until nothing is left of you, and then they will label you as uncaring when you finally break. You need to recognize the difference between kindness that uplifts and kindness that imprisons you, because when your kindness only empowers others to remain stagnant while you fall deeper into fatigue, and when you begin to understand that wisdom teaches you when to say yes, when to say no, and when to walk away, something inside you begins to shift. You no longer move through life reacting to everything and everyone. Instead, you start responding with intention. Many people struggle not because they lack kindness, but because they lack the courage to set limits. They say yes out of fear, they agree out of guilt, and they stay silent to avoid conflict. But wisdom teaches you that every yes carries a cost, every no protects something valuable, and every step you take, toward or away from someone, shapes the direction of your life. You start noticing that every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to something that could build you. Every time you allow someone to overstep your boundaries, you weaken the foundation of your own peace. And every time you keep giving your energy to people who misuse it, you rob yourself of the strength needed for the relationships and opportunities God has prepared for you. Wisdom is not about being cold or distant, it is about being spiritually aware. It teaches you to recognize who brings clarity and who brings confusion, who lifts your spirit and who burdens your heart, who respects your time and who steals it without hesitation. When you grow in wisdom, you begin to see patterns in people's behavior. You notice who shows up only when they need something, who listens only to reply, who apologizes with words but never with changed actions, and who expects from you what they would never give in return. And once you see these patterns clearly, you cannot unsee them. That is when your choices become more refined. You begin to choose peace over pressure, purpose over pleasing, and alignment over attachment. There will be moments when wisdom tells you to say yes. Yes to new opportunities, yes to healing, yes to relationships that nourish your soul, yes to boundaries that protect your spirit. These yeses build your future. They open doors that were once shut. They guide you toward people who respect your heart, value your time, and speak life into your purpose. But just as important are the moments when wisdom instructs you to say no. No to draining conversations, no to one-sided relationships, no to people who repeatedly take advantage of your compassion, no to situations that steal your joy, your energy, or your focus. This no is not unkind, it is sacred. It is the shield around your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Without this no, your yes loses its power. And then there are seasons when wisdom whispers something harder than yes or no. It tells you to walk away, to detach, to release what you tried to hold together, to accept that not every person is meant to stay, not every relationship is meant to be repaired, and not every story is meant to continue. Walking away is not failure, it is clarity. It is recognizing that your growth cannot happen in environments where your worth is questioned or your boundaries are ignored. It is understanding that distance is sometimes the only way to protect what God is building in you. And when you walk away with wisdom, you do not carry bitterness, you carry peace. You do not hold grudges, you hold lessons. You do not close the door with anger, you close it with gratitude for what it taught you. As you grow in this kind of wisdom, you begin to evolve into someone who no longer needs approval to feel secure, who no longer fears disappointing people who were never invested in your well-being, who no longer confuses constant giving with spiritual strength. You become someone who listens to your spirit before your emotions, someone who chooses intentionally rather than reactively, someone who understands that your life is too precious to waste on people who refuse to value it. And when you live like this, your relationships transform, your peace deepens, and your path becomes clearer than ever because wisdom has taught you to guard your heart, choose your battles, and honor the person God is shaping you to become a frustration. It is no longer kindness but self-neglect. There is a version of you that exists beyond people, pleasing, a version that chooses peace over approval, discernment over blind generosity, and strength over emotional obligation. That version of you understands that your life is not meant to be drained by people who refuse to pour back into you. It knows the importance of protecting your spiritual, emotional, and mental resources as fiercely as you protect the people you care about. When you stop being kind to everyone, you begin to see who truly values your presence and who only values your benefits. You start realizing that mutual respect, mutual effort, and mutual growth are far more important than temporary approval or superficial appreciation. Your inner circle becomes smaller but stronger, filled with people who don't take advantage of your softness but honor it, people who don't misuse your kindness but reciprocate it. And as your boundaries strengthen, your confidence grows. You begin to make decisions from clarity instead of guilt, and you start saying no without explaining yourself. You stop showing up for people who never show up for you, and you stop sacrificing your needs for people who ignore them. You stop confusing being needed with being valued. You begin to build a life where your kindness is intentional, not automatic, where your heart is given selectively instead of universally, and where your peace becomes more important than pleasing people who never cared for your well-being in the first place. There is a deep misunderstanding in the world that kindness must always be unconditional, that love must always be limitless, and that compassion must always flow freely without discretion. But the truth is that kindness without wisdom becomes a weapon used against you by those who know how to exploit gentle hearts. You must understand that not everyone who smiles at you deserves access to your generosity, and not everyone who seeks your help has good intentions. Some people are drawn to your kindness not because they appreciate your spirit, but because they see an opportunity to take without giving back, knowing you won't question their motives. They test how far your kindness stretches, how quickly you forgive, how easily you say yes, and how silently you tolerate disrespect. Every time you accommodate them, they learn that your boundaries are not real, your limits are negotiable, and your heart is available even when they bring nothing of value into your life. This is why you must learn to observe people more closely, not with suspicion but with discernment, because discernment protects what kindness builds. You will begin to notice patterns: the friend who only calls when they need something, the family member who praises you publicly but drains you privately, the person who disappears when you struggle but reappears when you succeed. You'll start realizing that some people don't want a relationship with you. They want access to your benefits, your energy, your effort, your emotional labor. And as long as you keep giving freely, they will keep appearing as though they care, but they don't care about you. They care about what you provide. That is why stepping back becomes necessary. When you restrict your kindness, people's true colors come out. The ones who valued you will remain, and the ones who used you will become frustrated, distant, or angry because they were never attached to you. They were attached to your service. It is in those moments you learn the most powerful truth. Your kindness was never the problem. The problem was giving it to the wrong people. You are not required to heal everyone, to comfort everyone, or to carry everyone's burdens at the expense of your own well-being. You are not obligated to sacrifice your mental peace to maintain relationships that do not nurture you. Your life is not a charity for ungrateful hearts, and your spirit is not a dumping ground for emotional takers. You must begin to treat your kindness like a valuable resource, something precious, something that must be protected and directed with intention. When you do this, your energy becomes focused, your relationships shift, and your inner world becomes stronger. You start forming connections based on mutual respect rather than guilt or obligation. You learn to say no without feeling guilty, to walk away without explaining yourself, and to put your peace above someone else's temporary comfort. As you evolve, you will see that people who truly love you will never weaponize your kindness against you. They will not manipulate your compassion or pressure your giving nature. Instead, they will stand with you, support your boundaries, and treat your heart with the respect it deserves. The ones who disrespect your boundaries, on the other hand, will try to shame you, blame you, or convince you that you've changed simply because they can no longer benefit from you. Let them think what they want, because their opinion does not define your growth. What defines you is the strength to choose yourself, the courage to protect your heart, and the wisdom to recognize that your kindness must flow where it is appreciated, not exploited. When you finally understand this, your life becomes lighter, your direction becomes clearer, and your purpose becomes more aligned with the version of you that no longer needs validation from people who never cared about your well-being in the first place.